All right, we start with a major shakeup in the Trump administration. President Trump has ousted Pam Bondi as U.S. Attorney General. Todd Blanche now steps in as the acting AG. Sources tell CBS News President Trump's support for Bondi had been eroding, especially after her early missteps in handling the Epstein files. In a social media post, Bondi wrote she will work tirelessly to transition the office. She also says she'll move into a private sector role where she will, quote, continue fighting for President Trump and this administration. Now, Blanche has a long-standing relationship with the president. He is a former federal prosecutor who worked as Trump's criminal defense attorney. In an interview with Fox News, Blanche denied the Epstein files had anything to do with Bondi's ousting.
President Trump said today, the Attorney General made our country safe again, and she is a friend, and she did a great job in the first year of this administration. I have never heard President Trump say that the Attorney General that anything that happened to her had anything to do with the Epstein files.
We've got team coverage on this for you this morning. Jared Hill is here in studio to break down Bondi's handling of the Epstein files. But let's begin with CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro in our D.C. bureau. Aaron, good morning. So what do we know about the president's reasoning here?
Good morning, Errol. Good to be with you. As you mentioned, it was the missteps of the handling of the Epstein files. It was her claiming that she had a client list on her desk that did not exist and inviting conservative influencers to the White House and giving them binders of already public information. That really kickstarted a lot of criticism of her among the president's base in regards to the Epstein files. But it was also President Trump's frustrations with her handling of criminal prosecutions against his political enemies. For months, he had been frustrated with the speed of those. He wanted to see more indictments and more arrests, and it wasn't for a lack of trying on Bondi's part. It was more so a lack of evidence. She had cases against the former FBI director, James Comey, as well as New York Attorney General Letitia James. Those were dismissed. There were not charges brought against Adam Schiff or Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. So President Trump had been frustrated with that and is hoping that the shakeup will result in quicker prosecutions going forward.
Now, Todd Blanche steps in as acting AG. This is someone who has been very close to President Trump and defending him personally before this presidency. So what can we expect? And then who may take over the role permanently?
Yeah, Blanche has many ties to President Trump, serving as his personal criminal defense lawyer, and in recent weeks had been more so the public face at the Department of Justice in regards to Epstein and TV appearances. In that Fox interview last night, he said he understands President Trump's frustrations. We have a clip here from former federal prosecutor Scott Frederickson kind of talking about the loyalty that Blanche has shown to President Trump. Take a listen.
He has the president's trust. And really, I think Todd Blanche has maybe been the sure hand through some of these difficult times. You know, it was the Jeffrey Epstein kind of bungled situation by Pam Bondi that's led to her demise. Todd Blanche was really the more experienced prosecutor. And I think the person, the attorney that the department and the president's staff went to when there were problems.
Now, in terms of who could be nominated to serve long-term as the president's attorney general, some names that have popped up include Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights Harmeet Dillon, as well as EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, who avoided questions from reporters in the public events as news broke of Bondi's firing.
All right, Aaron, all the latest details for us. Thank you very much. CBS News' Jared Hill now takes a look at Pam Bondi's relationship to President Trump and her tenure as AG. Jared, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Errol. Pam Bondi started off working with the White House back in 2019. She was a special advisor to President Trump when she was part of his legal team during his first impeachment trial. At the start of the second Trump administration, the president nominated Bondi for U.S. Attorney General. Then on February 5th of last year, she was sworn in. Bondi promised transparency when it came to the Jeffrey Epstein files and vowed to release an alleged client list associated with the convicted sex offender. Later that month, Bondi told Fox News the Epstein client list was sitting on her desk. The comments raised expectations for more information to be released. The Justice Department released a massive batch of documents related to Epstein on December 19th, following the passage of the Epstein Transparency Act. Despite this being the legal deadline for a full release, Bondi's DOJ only shared a few thousand files. There were more than 3 million pages anticipated. On January 30th of this year, 3.5 million more files were released. The move was marred with controversy as both lawmakers and the public criticized sloppy redactions that revealed sensitive information about survivors of Epstein's abuse, amid questions over why at least 2 million files still had been withheld. On February 11th, the House Judiciary Committee grilled Bondi over the handling of the Epstein files. She berated Democrats during the questioning, accusing them of theatrics. On March 18th, Bondi appeared before the House Oversight Committee for a closed-door briefing on the files. The Attorney General refused to commit to honor a subpoena to testify under oath. Democrats on that committee walked out in protest. We know that lawmakers on both sides of the aisle, Errol, still want to hear from Pam Bondi today.
Yeah, we'll watch that closely. Jared, thanks.